Hey guys, we're on Survivor Season 42, Episode 12. Last time we had Drea going home with all those advantages in her pocket, getting blindsided by Omar, telling Mike to give him the idol. And then when Drea used her advantage to take the idol from Mike, he didn't have it. So she ended up going home. They flushed her advantage and they got rid of her. It was a fantastic move. It was one of the most exciting moments in Survivor. But damn, she had so much going for her, but she trusted Omar. I don't understand why she would do that. But that's how the game goes. She's going home. So now everyone's excited. And before she left, she said, the only person I trusted with the information that had this advantage was Omar, pretty much putting him higher in the eyes of the jury and thereby making him a threat to the rest of the players. So you get back to the tribe. Omar is feeling good. Everybody else is now worried about Omar because now he's a big player in the game. His game was being low under the radar. Now he's a big player. I don't know how he's going to play that off, but he's thinking, now he gave the idol back to Mike and he's thinking, now Mike trusts him and all he has to do is turn Mike against Jonathan because they're very close. He wants to turn them against each other by talking to Mike and go after Jonathan, saying go after Mike. He wants to turn them against each other. So I'm thinking it's going to work. Mike seems very naive. He was, you know what I mean? He was manipulated by Omar before. But turns out Mike is just acting like he trusts him. Now Mike is thinking Omar wants to go after me, which is completely true. Mike completely read that right. And it blew my mind. I underestimated him and I didn't see that coming. So he's planting a seed with Miriam, telling her that Omar is going to take him out and then she's going to be next. She's saying, that's really hard because I've been working with Omar since the beginning of the game. And he says, so have I. So he's playing both sides. And she's sort of starting to buy it a little bit. The next day, she kind of said that Mike is looking nervous and he's probably going to play his idol, but she didn't expose the fact that he wants to get rid of Omar. So I'm thinking Mike made the right choice there. All right. And everyone else wants to go after Jonathan. And then Jonathan surprises me too. He figured out that Lindsay is working with Omar and Lindsay actually wants to get rid of him. This whole time he was clueless. And he figured it, I don't know what's going on. Like all of a sudden, Mike and Jonathan are just brilliant in this game, just out of nowhere. I think it's just like the numbers are down there. And I think it's just Jonathan just realized that the only one competing with Lindsay is him. So she wants to get rid of him. And she definitely does. She wants to win those immunities, so she wants to get rid of him. Which doesn't make any sense because then that would make her the biggest threat. And if she loses, people are just going to get rid of her. But I think it's just the confidence of knowing that she has an idol, but she can only use it now. She can only use it in the final 6. She can't use it in the final 5 like Mike can use his idol in the final 5. All right. So Mike wanted to protect himself in this vote and use his idol for the final 5 and save himself. All right. So everyone is just sort of playing each other. And then we get to the reward challenge. Reward challenge starts like this. Starts like this. They have to go spin around and unspool that rope. All right. You know, right off the bat, the fastest one to do it was Jonathan. Then they have to crawl through a net after spinning around. So they're dizzy and they got to crawl through this net all the way to this balance beam right here. And they have to cross the balance beam. while still being dizzy. All right. And while they're on the balance beam, in the middle of the balance beam, they have to untie this rope right here and then cross the balance beam with a key. All right. Well, it's like a ring, not really a key. All right. After the balance beam. All right. After the balance, oh, there we go. All right. Hit a brain freeze for a second. After the balance beam, then they have to assemble this puzzle right here. As you can see, Jonathan was the first one to get to this part. Where is he? I think he's down on, yeah, I think he's down on that side. He's the first one, then Lindsay was the second, then Omar, and then Miriam, and then I think then Mike. I think Romeo was like one of the last, but yep, that's how it goes. So they get to the puzzle, which is the great equalizer because Jonathan is garbage at puzzles. Just absolute garbage. He was the first one to get there, but in the end, it was Omar to complete the puzzle. It was between Omar and Miriam, but Omar was the one that completed it first. Let's see right here. This is what the puzzle looks like. See Omar right there, winning. All right, and the reward was food. It's two options of food. One is steak and veggies. The other is cookies and cake and chocolate cake. The first option, he gets to choose two people to go with him with the steak and stuff. So it's like sustenance or decadence. So he gets to choose two people. If he chooses the steak, he gets to choose three people if he chooses the cookies and chocolate cake. So he decided to choose three, the chocolate cake, so he could choose three. And the three he chose was Miriam, Mike, and Romeo. And the two people he didn't choose was obviously Lindsay and Jonathan. He definitely wasn't going to choose Jonathan because he didn't want Jonathan to win the competition for individual immunity by giving him food. And he also chose the other two because he also wants Mike to feel safe because he might target Mike as well if Jonathan wins immunity. So it's like one of the two. So he wants Mike to feel safe, and he already has an alliance with Lindsay, so he's not worried about that. And he wants to make it seem kind of like he's targeting the two people that are good in competitions. So it was a good play. All right, so they go to eat cake, and Jonathan is back at the tribe with Lindsay eating rice. And Lindsay's asking him, well, how the game is going to go. What do you think is going to happen? He says, oh, it's probably going to be Mike. So Lindsay's like, yeah, I think the same thing. So both of them are playing a game where they're trying to make each other feel comfortable. Jonathan is thinking Lindsay wants to get rid of him, actually. And so he's just going to play along. So he's not going to give her any sort of information. He's just acting like he still trusts her. And she's thinking, oh, Jonathan thinks it's going to be Mike, but if he doesn't win immunity, it's going to be him. So it's like one of the first rare situations where Jonathan actually knows what's going on and the other people don't. So yeah, it's very interesting. All right, they get back to the tribe, the people that was on the reward get back to the tribe, and Mike goes up to Lindsay. He starts talking to her right here, and she's telling him it's going to be Jonathan. All right, and she's believing that, and he's like, oh, you sure it's not going to be me, right? And she's like, no, it's going to be Jonathan. So she's telling him Jonathan, and that he's safe. He doesn't have to worry about it. She's trying to make sure he doesn't use his idol in case Jonathan wins. So she says to him, I'll let you know if you have to play your idol. He's not buying any of that. So Jonathan and Mike are playing dumb. They're playing the dumb character that people think they are. All right. But Omar and Lindsay feel comfortable. They're working together. and they think their blind side is going to work. Mike goes to Miriam, and he tells her that they should vote out Omar because he's a danger right now, and they have the votes. If him, Miriam, and Jonathan vote, then they have that three. They can get rid of Omar. And then as they're talking, he tells her, if we get to final five, I'll use my idol to protect you. And she's thinking that's great. She gets double protection because she also has an idol that no one knows about. So she's excited to get rid of Omar, and plus Omar is a threat. So she's excited to do that. But then he drops the bomb and says, Lindsay has an idol. She didn't know that. So that solidifies in her mind that people are not giving her information and they don't think she's really a threat. So she wants to add to her resume by getting rid of Omar. She's like dead set on getting rid of Omar so that she can get that in her resume and the jury can look at her more favorably. All right. So get to the, there we go. Get to the immunity challenge. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, Jonathan is out, because there's usually a puzzle on top of that when they have competitions like this. All right, so they start out, they have to jump the hurdles, and then go over here and untie the steps right there for the little bridge. They have to untie those steps, and it's going to be 4 at a time. They untie it, and then it's going to be a puzzle because the steps are going to have like little holes in it, and they have to fit it into the steps over here. All right, and they have to build it up 4 at a time to get to the top. So they have to figure out which step does it fit. So they have to arrange it differently. So right off the bat, and when they get to the top, then they, I believe there's a ring that's through the pole right here, and they have to shimmy the ring up all the way to the top. And then when they get to the top, it's more, all right, I'll explain that part later. All right, so right off the bat, there we go. That is the ring that they have to get through this pole to get to the top. All right. And this is what the challenge is when they get to the top. They have to land 2 balls into 2 different holes. So there's the first hole is right here on the obstacle course. So they have to gently get the ball through all these obstacles right here to the first one. And then the second one is all the way at the end. It's actually very difficult to get to because it's like inches. Like they have to see how close this is. Like the ball at the end, it's even worse. Like just like a little edge what they can get through. All right, so it's not as simple things, and it's not a puzzle. So I'm like, okay, Jonathan might have a chance. All right. So right off the bat, Jonathan is in the lead. He gets to the steps first. All right, he jumped those hurdles. He gets to the step. You get all 4 steps first, but then he had trouble figuring out which steps fit where. And then eventually Lindsay overtakes him. And I think everyone overtakes him at this part. All right. Everyone overtakes him. And then on the second set of steps, he was able to make up time. Eventually he got to the top. I think the only one that was still left on the steps part was Miriam. She was very slow in that part for some reason. I think she just got gassed out. Not much stamina on that one. All right. Lindsay was way ahead. She beat everyone on the steps, and then she got through the little ring ladder thing pretty quickly. So she got to the end. She was the first one on the little foosball table thing. All right. She was up there, and I think the second person was Mike. All right. But eventually, I think everyone got up there except for Romeo and Miriam, and they were going through the table maze, right? As you can see right there, Jonathan lands his first ball, and you can see how tiny that edge is where he has to get through to get to land the last ball. Very difficult part, but it was him and Lindsay neck to neck. He got the first ball, he was ahead of her, but then he got to the end and he dropped the ball, and they were back at the same point they were. He was able to catch up, and he got back to that end point before she did, but he dropped the ball. You see right there, he dropped the ball right there in that hole, and he's going to roll off. So he has to start over, but she was able to make it, and she won the individual immunity, right? So she has an idol, and she just won individual immunity, and she's thinking Jonathan's going to go home. But now, because she has immunity, Mike is worried that she's going to use it to save Omar. So there's like, oh, they have to switch their votes now to Romeo. All right, but Miriam doesn't really want to do that. She still wants to make her big move on Omar. So she wants to vote Omar. So her plan was to split the votes. She wanted the guys to take a risk with her and vote for Omar, and have Romeo vote for, Omar, have one of the guys vote for, have the two guys vote for Romeo, and she's going to use her extra vote and vote for Omar with those two. So it's going to be 3 on Omar and 2 on Romeo, and 2 on Jonathan from Lindsay and Omar. And that's her plan. But the guys are saying they shouldn't do that. They should play it safe and go with Romeo. But meanwhile, Lindsay and Omar are happy. They're thinking their plan is going to work. They got everyone to go Jonathan, and they're thinking Jonathan is going to go Mike. So if Mike plays his idol, then Jonathan goes home. If he doesn't play his idol, Jonathan still goes home, and it's going to be fine. Lindsay then says to Omar, "You're safe anyways. I don't think I'm going to play my idol, because if she does, she's thinking it's going to go back into circulation, and then people are going to be going on an idol hunt." And I'm like, damn, that's wow, that's unfortunate that they didn't want to do that. So they wanted to play it safe as well, right? Miriam is frustrated because the guys don't want to go with her plan. But so then she goes behind their back and she talks to Omar, and she tells him where the votes are going to go, and she tells him to vote for Omar and don't say anything. And he didn't say anything, but I didn't know if that meant he agreed with their plan or not, because he seemed very close with Omar. But I think he pretty much knows he's at the bottom, and he's always playing it safe and just going with the numbers. All right, so they get to tribal. No one's revealing anything. They're just talking about playing the game and trying to set themselves up for the end of the game, and they're thinking 3 steps ahead or whatever, just nonsense back and forth. So they go to vote, and they vote, and no one plays an idol. No one plays an idol. The votes are counted, and it goes exactly how Miriam wanted it. 2 votes on Jonathan, 2 votes on Romeo, and her and Romeo make up 3 votes because of her extra vote, and Omar goes home, and she gets the credit for that move, and she's feeling good. And yeah, the next episode is going to be the season finale, and I can't wait, because they're now at final 5, and guaranteed no one wants Jonathan to go any further in this game, which doesn't make sense. He's trash at puzzles. He's not going to win, even if he gets to the end. Why are you trying to get rid of him? Take him to the end with you, especially if you play strategic moves. No one's voting for him. But hey, they're going to do what they're going to do, and I'm excited to see how it's going to go. So until next time.